Most people think stopping at a gas station is simple. You pull in, grab the pump, and drive off. But the truth is, the real danger begins long before you squeeze the handle. Tiny habits that almost every driver repeats without thinking can quietly damage your car, confuse sensors, or even start a fire, without a warning light ever showing up. One mistake on this list could save you thousands of dollars or prevent a disaster, and almost everyone makes it without realizing. Mistake number 15. Getting back into your car while fueling. You engage the latch on the nozzle and step away. The pump continues running while you return to the driver's seat to warm up or check your phone. A short time later, you step back out and grab the nozzle again. Nothing mechanical has changed in those seconds, but electrically, the situation is completely different. Fuel moving rapidly through the pump creates static electricity. Modern fuel dispensers in the United States are designed as grounded systems so that charge is safely discharged through the hose and nozzle. When your hand stays on the nozzle, your body becomes part of that grounded path. The moment you let go and slide across a synthetic seat, static begins building on your body, often thousands of volts, without any sensation at all. Gasoline vapor naturally concentrates around the filler neck, forming an invisible cloud with a wide flammability range. In that space, a spark far too small to see is enough to cause ignition. This is why U.S. fire safety guidelines specifically warn against re-entering a vehicle while fueling. When ignition occurs, it escalates instantly. Drivers panic, pull the nozzle free, and burn fuel sprays onto the pavement and across the vehicle before anyone understands what happened. If you absolutely must get back into your car while fueling, there is one critical step that reduces the risk. Before touching the nozzle again, discharge yourself by touching bare metal on the vehicle, away from the filler area. That simple action can safely release built-up static and prevent a spark at the worst possible location. Static electricity is a serious threat at the pump. The next mistake carries that same risk directly into your vehicle. Mistake number 14. Filling a gas can while it's in the trunk or truck bed. This usually happens when fuel is needed for equipment, a generator, a snowblower, or lawn tools. The gas can is placed in the trunk or truck bed and filling begins. It feels stable and controlled, which is exactly why people underestimate how dangerous it is. Most consumer fuel containers are made from high-density polyethylene, a material that does not conduct electricity. As gasoline splashes into the container, static charge accumulates on both the liquid and the inner surface of the can. When the container is sitting directly on bare concrete or asphalt, microscopic moisture allows that charge to slowly dissipate. Inside a trunk, on carpet, rubber mats, or plastic bed liners, the container is completely insulated from the ground. As the charge builds, voltage continues to rise. Once the difference becomes large enough, the spark jumps, most often at the rim of the container, where gasoline vapor is densest. Fire investigations repeatedly reveal the same conditions: dry weather, plastic containers, insulated truck beds, and ignition occurring at the opening without any mechanical failure. The correct method is simple and proven. Remove the fuel container from the vehicle and place it on the ground before filling. Keep the nozzle in constant contact with the container opening throughout the process. This allows static to dissipate safely and eliminates the conditions needed for ignition. Next, we move away from fire hazards and into a mistake that doesn't explode, doesn't smoke, and doesn't warn you at all, but quietly costs drivers thousands over time. Mistake number 13. Removing the tank after the pump clicks. The pump clicks, signaling a full tank. Most drivers think the job is done, but then, tempted by a round dollar amount or just a few extra miles, they squeeze again. What seems harmless is quietly sabotaging your vehicle's EVAP system and onboard vapor recovery, standard in all modern U.S. vehicles. Inside your fuel system, the charcoal canister is meant to trap vapor, not liquid gasoline. When the tank reaches its proper level, there's just enough room above the fuel for vapor to expand safely. Pour in extra fuel after the first click, and liquid floods the filler neck, clogs vent lines, and seeps into the charcoal canister. Once soaked, the canister stops filtering vapor. It behaves like a saturated sponge, restricting airflow and preventing the tank from breathing. The signs are subtle but unmistakable: a strong gasoline smell, fuel burping back out of the filler, pumps repeatedly clicking off, and eventually a check engine light warning you of an EVAP system fault. Repairing a saturated canister, vent valve, or fuel line isn't cheap. Expect $300 to $900 at most U.S. repair shops. The fix is simple. Stop at the first click. Mistake 3112. Refueling immediately after a fuel delivery. Pulling in just as a tanker truck leaves or while it's unloading seems convenient, but it's one of the riskiest moments to fuel up. Underground tanks are violently stirred during delivery, sending water, rust, and sediment into suspension. For a brief moment, the gasoline becomes a churning mix of debris, while suction pipes stay above the sediment layer. If you refuel during this turbulence, contaminated fuel reaches your filter almost immediately. The pump works harder, and particles that slip through can clog injector screens and spray nozzles. Over time, this reduces spray efficiency, causes misfires, and disrupts idle performance. The solution is simple. Wait 15 to 30 minutes or come back later if a tanker is nearby or fill caps are still damp. Calm tanks make clean fuel. Mistake number 11. Driving with the tank almost empty. Ignoring the fuel gauge when it dips below E is more dangerous than most drivers realize. In nearly all modern cars, the fuel pump sits inside the tank and relies on gasoline for cooling, lubrication, and consistent operation. When fuel levels drop too low, the pump is exposed to heat and vapor instead of liquid, which can cause overheating and premature wear. Driving like this repeatedly shortens the pump's life. Running the tank low also increases the risk of fuel starvation. The pump may suck air along with gasoline, leading to hesitation, rough running, or even stalling. Meanwhile, tiny debris, dust, rust, and rubber particles settle at the bottom of the tank. When the tank is nearly empty, the pump draws from the dirtiest area, further increasing wear. Refueling at a quarter tank or above keeps the pump submerged, cool, and protected, extending its lifespan. On top of that, running on fumes forces your engine to operate in a fine mist of vapor rather than liquid fuel, creating subtle performance issues most drivers never connect back to their fueling habits. Mistake number 10. Leaving the engine running while filling up. It seems harmless, even smart. You pull up to the pump, leaving the engine running to keep warm in the winter or cool in the summer. To most, it looks practical. But in reality, it's quietly multiplying risk. Every circuit, every ignition coil, every hot component in your car is awake, alive, and interacting with highly flammable fuel vapors around your vehicle. An idling engine fires its ignition coils thousands of times per minute. Current surges from the alternator. Radiator fans can spin up without warning. Relays click and arcs spark in tiny, almost invisible flashes. Even the exhaust system, searing hot, may sit dangerously close to vapor trails. Gasoline vapor is heavier than air. It doesn't float away. It drifts, pools under the car, and collects around the filler neck. Most of the time, it's harmless, but the danger is in the one perfect alignment that sparks a disaster. Modern cars complicate the problem. With the engine running, the EVAP system activates, drawing vapor into the intake through the purge valve. The ECU monitors fuel level and tank pressure, expecting changes only from normal driving. Refueling while running can confuse sensors, distort readings, and turn a minor habit into a dangerous gamble. The solution is simple. Turn off the engine. Yes, the cabin might get a little uncomfortable, but you drastically reduce the chances of fire, vapor ignition, or sensor-related issues. Mistake number 9. Pouring old gasoline into your tank. You found a forgotten fuel can, months or even years old. Instead of disposing of it, you pour it into your car and top it with fresh gasoline. What seems like saving money is actually a shortcut straight to engine trouble. Fresh gasoline is a carefully balanced cocktail of volatile compounds, detergents, and ethanol, designed to meet performance and emission standards. Over time, oxygen, heat, and air exposure degrade it. Lighter fractions evaporate, gums and varnish-like deposits form. Ethanol absorbs moisture, and octane drops. Lab tests show that stale fuel can lose 3 to 4 octane points while concentrating harmful deposits. Exactly what enters your fuel system when you pour that last few ounces. Modern engines are precise machines. Low-octane triggers knock sensors, forcing the ECU to retard ignition timing. Your car feels sluggish, fragile, and unresponsive. Meanwhile, varnish and oxidation byproducts coat injectors, intake valves, and pressure regulators. There's no saving money here. Old gasoline is hazardous waste, not a fuel economy hack. Proper disposal at a certified facility is the only safe option. Mistake number 8. Choosing the cheapest, least used pump. Hunting for the lowest price, the off-brand station, or the pump that never has a line is tempting. But what seems like smart frugality can quietly destroy your fuel system. Underground storage tanks accumulate water and sediment over time. Microbial growth can form at the fuel-water interface. High-volume stations constantly cycle fuel, diluting impurities and allowing early detection. Low-traffic pumps may sit on the same batch for weeks. Dissolved water settles, sludge forms, and oxidation deteriorates the fuel. The consequences: rough idling, hesitation, clogged filters, injector deposits, and in extreme cases, stalling immediately after refueling. The solution is simple. Choose stations with high turnover, good maintenance, and a strong reputation. Sometimes the quietest pump is quiet because other drivers have already learned to avoid it. Mistake number 7. Using improvised containers instead of approved fuel cans. When you need to transport a few liters of fuel, it's tempting to grab whatever is nearby: a water bottle, soda bottle, or random household jug. What seems convenient is actually a direct path to contamination. Approved fuel containers sold in the U.S. are made from materials that resist gasoline, reduce vapor loss, and prevent leaks. Ordinary plastics are not. Gasoline can soften or degrade them, leaching plasticizers, colors, and tiny particles into the fuel. The tank strainer cannot catch all of this. These particles travel to fuel filters, pumps, and injectors, especially in modern direct injection systems operating at thousands of bars of pressure. The damage is invisible at first: injector fouling, clogged filters, noisy pumps, and altered spray patterns. By the time symptoms appear, the harm is done. One approved container is all it takes to avoid a lifetime of preventable fuel system damage. Mistake number 6. Adding gasoline additives just before filling up. Many drivers think they are helping their engine by pouring an injector cleaner or octane booster into a nearly empty tank right before filling up. They twist the bottle, dump the additive, and hit the pump at full speed, assuming the process is harmless. The reality is very different. Additives are designed to gradually dilute in a full tank, not be concentrated in a nearly empty one. When poured into a nearly empty tank, the mixture becomes highly concentrated and violently churns as vapor escapes during refueling. This sudden surge can allow droplets and aerosols of the additive to reach the EVAP vent system, gradually overloading the charcoal canister with chemicals it was never engineered to handle. Over time, excessive additives increase solvent concentration in the fuel, which can degrade lubrication inside the fuel system and accelerate wear on pumps and injectors. Manufacturers match additive bottle size to tank capacity for a reason. One bottle is never meant for a tank that is nearly empty. Mistake number 5. Ignoring the fuel grade designation. Many drivers barely glance at the octane or ethanol markings at the pump, choosing cheaper fuel or mixing incompatible blends. Running high ethanol fuel in engines not designed for it, or using regular gasoline in a premium engine, is more damaging than most people realize. Octane measures a fuel's resistance to knock, and modern high-performance engines, especially turbocharged or high-compression models, are calibrated with precise octane assumptions. Feed the engine a lower than recommended grade, and knock occurs. Most modern ECUs respond immediately by retarding ignition timing, masking the problem from the driver. What feels like a slightly weaker engine with lower fuel efficiency is actually hidden damage being done over time. This extra stress pushes heat through the exhaust system, turbochargers, and catalytic converters, elevating temperatures in areas they aren't designed to withstand. Over tens of thousands of kilometers, this accelerates wear, shortens component life, and can lead to costly repairs. Saving a few cents per gallon is rarely worth the thousands in hidden damage that follow. Mistake number 4. Drilling the gas cap or modifying the filler neck. Frustrated by the pump constantly clicking off, some drivers try a shortcut, drilling a hole in the cap or removing the rollover valve to speed up filling. It may feel clever at first, but this exposes the fuel system to dirt, moisture, and raw fuel vapor while triggering error codes in the EVAP system. The EVAP system exists for a reason. It balances incoming liquid with escaping vapor. When you bypass it, you break that balance, compromise fuel containment, and risk long-term damage to the tank, vent hoses, and solenoids. Repairs for a hacked EVAP system are expensive, and the environment suffers along the way. The only safe solution is to repair the underlying vent or canister issue, not disable it. Mistake number 3. Opening the gas cap when it's dirty. Road salt, sand, dust, and hardened mud naturally accumulate around the fuel door. Many drivers overlook this and simply twist the cap open, allowing contaminants to fall directly into the filler neck. While filler necks are designed with restrictor plates to catch large debris, finer particles slip past, circulating with every splash and pump cycle. Modern fuel injectors operate with tolerances under 5 microns, while particles like sand or road salt are far larger. Even a single grain can damage injectors, load filters prematurely, and cause symptoms such as noisy pumps, hesitation, or power loss under heavy load. A simple precaution, wiping the cap and surrounding area for a few seconds, can save thousands in injector repairs and prevent long-term fuel system damage. Mistake number 2. Overdosing on chemical additives. Ironically, the habit of using fuel additives often leads to yet another problem. Excessive chemicals don't just fail to protect your engine, they can overwhelm fuel system components, create deposits, and accelerate wear instead of reducing it. The very step meant to clean your engine becomes a source of hidden damage, quietly eroding efficiency and reliability over time. Mistake number 2. Forcing the fill while ignoring strange pump behavior. Ever notice the pump constantly clicking off while you try to fill up? Many drivers respond without thinking, twisting the nozzle, feathering the trigger, or restarting the pump repeatedly. It feels like the station is accusing you of doing something wrong, but in reality, the problem often starts with your own fuel system. Modern fuel nozzles include a mechanical safety feature, an automatic shutoff. A tiny sensor near the tip detects disturbances in airflow caused by fuel or vapor. Your car's EVAP system interacts with this sensor every time you refuel. When vapor and air cannot escape freely from the tank, pressure builds in the filler neck, triggering the nozzle to click off early. This happens if the charcoal canister is saturated from years of topping off, vent lines are kinked, or vent and rollover valves are blocked. Continuing to force fuel in after multiple early shutoffs can have serious consequences. Liquid fuel is pushed into vent lines designed only for vapor, flooding the charcoal canister. Activated carbon, which needs to remain dry to work effectively, becomes saturated, breaking down and sometimes physically disintegrating. As venting worsens, the clicking intensifies and filling becomes slower and more frustrating. The smart approach? Try another pump first to rule out station issues. If the problem persists across multiple pumps, your EVAP system likely needs attention. Ignoring it and powering through only makes the repair more costly. Mistake number 1. Not properly tightening the gas cap. It may seem small, almost trivial, but leaving your gas cap cross-threaded, barely snug, or only lightly clicked can lead to a cascade of problems. Your car's EVAP system is designed to maintain a nearly airtight seal in the fuel tank. It constantly monitors pressure, applies small vacuums or pressures, and checks for leaks. A loose or improperly sealed cap is like drilling a hole in a sealed system. Your EVAP and ORVR systems, which are designed to capture harmful hydrocarbons, are instantly compromised. Fuel vapors escape, and dust, grime, and humid air can enter freely. Over time, this moisture condenses on cooler surfaces inside the filler neck and tank, accelerating rust and corrosion. Even worse, repeated EVAP error codes from a loose cap often lead to unnecessary repairs. Purge valves, vent solenoids, and sometimes even charcoal canisters are replaced before anyone realizes the culprit was simply a poorly tightened cap. The solution is simple. Tighten your cap slowly until you hear at least 3 clicks. That sound confirms the seal is secure, and your EVAP system can function correctly. Even perfect refueling habits can be undermined by poor quality gasoline. Certain brands silently damage catalytic converters, fuel injectors, and fuel pumps over time. If you want to protect your engine, watch the next video to discover which 4 gasoline brands in the US are truly safe, and which 9 you should avoid at all costs.